Whew, man, it is fucking crazy. We got the Evo numbers. I had to go and grab the last year's numbers and this year's numbers so that we could compare them side by side. We're big chillin' talking Evo numbers today. It should be pretty good. Yeah, that's the thing about Injustice. A lot of people were, when they were talking about the MK numbers, I don't think they had the context of how low the numbers were the year before. I gotta take a peek at the 2017 numbers. I'm very curious. Well, I was gonna do a little bit of math and see what the difference in overall, like how many people are registered for each game. So in 2018, it was 11,462 attendees. Or I guess it's entrance, yeah. Attendees is a different metric. So this year is at 14,321. So 3,000 more entrants in the tournament. That's not counting attendees and that's not counting anything else. Just 3,000 more entrants into tournaments, right? So it's already a big increase in that sense. Man, 14,000. Should we start at the bottom or should we start at the top? I'm not actually sure, but I am sure that Brutus came through.
All the CRTs being laid to rest with no melee at Evo.
I will Sajam coffee and I'll cheers to that. Shout outs to all those CRTs having a fair death. The fuck is a CRT? How old are you? Were you born after Space Jam? If you were born after Space Jam, you're not welcome here. Tasty Steve told me that he doesn't trust a single human that was born after Space Jam. What is Space Jam? Someone banned that guy for life. So, we'll start at the very bottom. BlazBlue this year, 640. Last year, 1178. Not surprising, right? Last year, the game was new. It was hot. People were really excited for it. Games get a boost when they're new. It's just usually the way it works, right? Since then, BlazBlue has not been like, you know, it's not been crushing it, but it's also not been horrible, right? Like 640 for a BlazBlue tournament at Evo is great. In fact, if you look last year at Evo, at Guilty Gear and Injustice, BlazBlue still beat both of those games, right? Despite it not having as much momentum as a title this year. I think I expected BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle to be the lowest entered game. That has nothing to do with the quality of the game. I know a lot of people really love BlazBlue, and last year it had an awesome finals. But I think just based on the momentum of the game, those are pretty solid numbers. And yeah, that is an interesting point too. Arc System Works not doing a lot with a title will also do that. That's going to be a common theme you'll notice about the developer support and how involved they are with games that are coming up and also the community support. One thing that's important to talk about for Evo numbers is that the feel of how the community is also a big deal about how many people are going to enter Evo or not. If the community feels an upsurge, like everybody is excited, everybody's digging it, it's more likely people are going to go to Evo. That is like a theme of Evo for sure. If people are positive and digging the game, it's like that for all events, I guess, not just Evo. If people are positive and digging the game, it's going to have a lot of attendees. Next up, we have Soul Calibur. So Soul Calibur is the 8th most entered game. This is its first shot at Evo, right? It was at Evo Japan. But this is its first try at Evo. 740 is not bad. That is a pretty big ass fucking tournament. Biggest Soul Calibur entrance ever, someone says in the chat. I totally believe it. That's really, really cool. For Soul Calibur as a scene to pull up 740 people at Evo is fucking tight. I think a lot of people do a little bit more of like, oh, well, it didn't have as much as Smash Ultimate. Yeah, well, no shit. If you look at the amount of titles sold, I'm sure Smash Ultimate beat Soul Calibur by just a bit. But it's awesome. It's really cool to see Soul Calibur doing well, and also 3D games in general showing up at Evo. 740 is very, very, very good. Imagine having 740 people play your game in one place in one weekend. That's awesome. And they all traveled out to do it. It's not just like they bumbled in there, right? Next, we have Dragon Ball at 1191. So the year before, you can see that Dragon Ball is at 2575. Last year's most entered game at Evo. And then after that, you have Dragon Ball at 1191 this year. So a big drop off. Maybe we should just talk about UNI-ST first then, I guess, because it is technically based on entrance. But we'll talk about Dragon Ball. So I think the biggest things that hurt it were the weird IP issues it had. Obviously, the weird IP issues, everybody was like, what the fuck's going on? Nobody knows what happened. Like, I don't understand what's, you know, the deal with all the IP issues that had people worried. There was a talk where people were like, I think I need to drop Dragon Ball. I don't know if it's going to be a competitive game anymore. You remember that being a discussion? It was in that kind of a weird place, right? Where people were not sure what was going to happen with the IP or the developer or anything like that, and it was a little weird. Then after that, it kind of had the finals where the season was going to be announced, and they just dropped the patch, and they're like, this is it for the whole year. And everybody was like, okay, well, Season 2 details and Season 2 World Tour details are going to come soon. Nothing. For months and months and months. Finally, they announced, like right before CEO, hey, CEO's a Tenkaichi event. Hey, also, here's what a Tenkaichi event is. Everything was announced so late. I think if the Dragon Ball Tour had been announced in March And Evo had been announced early as a big, Saga Plus event or something, right? Or like, this is a Saga event. It's going to be huge, like the Dragon Ball World Tour. And it had ramped up towards Evo. I think the attendees go up to something closer to Mortal Kombat or Sam Show. But given how rough the IP situation has been, how rough the World Tour situation has been, how like they just dropped a patch and then left the game for 6 months or whatever it is, it's still crazy to me that it has 1,200 attendees. Because obviously you have to assume that those things hurt the attendees, right? No information about, what's going to happen with the season. The World Tour is all fucking... There's like 2 events announced out of like the 20 on the tour. Even still, the game gets 1,200, which is awesome numbers. That is a shit ton of people. How many people entered Dragon Ball at CEO and Combo Breaker, right? Like if you do a comparison, 350 players at CEO, 1,200 at Evo. This bracket is 4 times bigger than CEO almost. Think about that. Think about how big Combo Breaker was. Combo Breaker for Dragon Ball is a huge tournament. There's tons of people. Combo Breaker Dragon Ball had 385 entrants. Again, a third of the players at Evo. Yeah, that's Dragon Ball, which is actually a higher entry number than UNI-ST, unless this typo is, unless UNI-ST was at 1256 and he messed up or something, but that's insane. Oh, the numbers are right? Okay, so they're just listed out of order. So UNI-ST, this one is fucking sick, isn't it? Remember when I mentioned that perception and feel about a game is very important in how many people are entering or interested in games at events? UNI-ST is a great example. UNI-ST made it into Evo, and when it made it into Evo, the perception or the feel was UNI-ST made it in because the community loves the game so much that they forced it into Evo by supporting it. So when you look at Combo Breaker, the numbers are ramping up, getting crazy. You look at CEO, the numbers are ramping up, getting crazy. You look at Evo, 1,156 competitors for UNI-ST. Crazy. That is a fucking sick number to hit. UNI-ST is a great example of when you ask people why they play UNI-ST, their answer is always because I love the game. The game is sick. Do you want to try UNI-ST? UNI-ST is great. What kind of characters do you play in your game? Oh, you like, this character in this game? Well, you would love Carmine or Hyde or whoever it is, right? Like it's one of those games where like the feeling and the opinion of the game is so high amongst the people that play it that it just feels like if you're not playing it, you're missing out. And that's why, like, when I jumped in and started trying it, you notice when I first started learning it, there was a ton of people who were in the stream like, yo, I want to learn it too. And I want to thank True Blue for dropping the Twitch Prime. Thanks very much. There's a ton of people who are interested in the game and they're like, yo, I want to also learn UNI-ST. I've been interested in it. A lot of people have been digging it and stuff like that. So yeah, the feeling of the game is you can just feel it on an upswing. You can feel that everybody is more and more excited for it, and getting picked up by something like Evo just makes people like, fuck yeah, we earned our place in Evo. Let's keep supporting and entering and loving our game, and then the game just keeps going up. And there's like a new version that got leaked a while ago, right? So like now people are just like, damn, now there's going to be a new version. Like, people are just excited. So that's Dragon Ball UNI-ST. Mortal Kombat with 1,500 attendees. A lot of people were saying, MK getting 1,500, that's it. The game's brand new. How did it only get 1,500? Meanwhile, it's right in the middle of Evo attendees. And if you compare it to previous years, this is a humongous year for NRS games, for Mortal Kombat. In fact, I think this is the most entered NRS game at Evo ever. If you look at the year before, Injustice has 363. Mortal Kombat X, its first year, had 1162. So this has more than Mortal Kombat X its first year. And yeah, Injustice is an NRS game, but Mortal Kombat is always more popular. That's pretty crazy that they had that big of a jump, right? 1,500 for Mortal Kombat's awesome. The game is new. It's really, really, really good. And like people are on a high for it. They're digging it, right? I think it's very solid. When you read Twitter, everybody's talking shit about everybody else's games. Meanwhile, when I look at all these numbers, I'm like, brah fucking vo, everybody. We did it. Look at these numbers. They're sick. 1,500 is crazy. That is a big ass number, and it's a milestone for Mortal Kombat fans, right? The most entered NRS game at Evo ever, and I think that is awesome, right? It's like fucking hell yeah. You got to be excited if you're an NRS fan. Your game is, growing, and obviously the community is getting bigger. That it's your most entered game ever. It's the best-selling game of 2019, and it's the highest your game has ever been entered at Evo. Awesome. And the game is really good. I love Mortal Kombat 11. I think the game is fucking awesome. I mean, I played it for weeks straight on my stream. I commentate the game. I still play it all the time. The game is dope. The big one right above it, though. Samurai Shodown, brand new game, just came out, 1,700 attendees. I have a few theories about why the attendees is so high for Sam Show. For starters, any game that's coming out the year of Evo or right before Evo will have a lot of attendees. Right? Because just in general, the way attendees kind of tend to work is that if the game is new, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, when Sam Show comes out, I want to try that game. It looks cool. I feel like Dragon Ball was kind of like that last year too, right? So when people are signing up for the game, a lot of times they haven't even quite played it yet, or they're waiting for it to come out, and like the game came out a little late, and they got their hands on it, and they're like, this game is fucking sick. I'm signing up for it at Evo. And I think it is the best side game at Evo. But I'm willing to bet that it is the most like crossover game. Like it has some of the highest amount of attendees who are entering other games. I feel like it is the like, well, I'm a Tekken player and I want to enter one other game. And while I'm doing that, I want to thank Mr. Aircraft for dropping the Twitch Prime. Thanks very much. You're like, all right, I'm a Tekken player and I want to enter another game at Evo. I'm not sure what I should enter. Sam Show looks fun. A lot of people say it's very simple, and if you're like good at fighting games, you'll be fine. Just like you're fine if Wolverine FGC does instant jumping overhead with Akuma Tatsu assist. Thanks very much for the Twitch Prime. So like, I think it's definitely a game where everybody's like, well, I want to enter one other game, and I want to like try it out and see what it is. Sam Show, this game is fun. This game's straightforward. If you can play like fighting games at a basic level, then when you jump into Sam Show, it'll just feel right. A lot of people love Sam Show. And one of the big selling points is people say it's very simple. They're like, yeah, the game's simple. It's easy to pick up. Like, you know, you just jump right into it. That's a perfect side game at Evo. Someone says Samurai is not basic, LMAO. Well, that's the thing. It doesn't have, whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. The perception is Samurai Shodown is a great jump in, pick up and play. So if that's the perception of the game, then everybody's like, well, shit. Let's do it. Like, I'm going to jump in there. So Sam Show is new title. It's an old franchise brought back, which people always love, right? It's a classic franchise brought back. It hasn't been around for a while. I think it is one of the best, if not the best side game to enter at Evo, which is not a diss, by the way. I'm not saying that as like a diss. Entering multiple games at Evo is very fun. And Sam Show is a perfect example of a game that I would enter as a side game at Evo if I was playing. There's also the perspective of like, well, the game's new, so if I just play it for a little bit, maybe I'll do well on my pool at Evo. You know what I mean? It's one of those. So that's why I think Sam Show has really high numbers. That is a fucking fat amount of entrants. That shit is impressive. Next up, we have Tekken 7. This game has been growing at Evo every single year. Without fail, it just keeps growing, which is very, very impressive. It's actually probably one of the best places to sit. That is a great sign for your game. It's getting support. It has a world tour. It has, you know, they've announced a bunch of new characters and stuff. But the 7th Tekken, right? The 7th Tekken is crushing it. People love this game. It is one of those games where I feel like UNI-ST, where the feeling is like, if I'm not watching or playing Tekken, I'm missing out. I got to get involved. 2015, it had 450. That was before it was even out, I think, in arcade. It was like they had an arcade tournament where they dragged the cabs over. 2016, it was 540. 2017, it was 1200. 2018, 1500, 2019, 1885, which is fantastic. It's fantastic. A switching mood. Make some noise. Did you guys hear that? Tasty Steve soundboard. They patched it. I don't have the newest version of the Steve soundboard anymore. I got to get the update. So yeah, Tekken on its current path, obviously if they announce more stuff, if they have another set of characters, or if they have another world tour, I think it's not unexpected that the game grows again next year into the 2000s, right? Which is awesome. It's very, very cool to see. And Tekken is like one of those games where everybody's digging it. Everybody's loving it. They're like, this shit is tight. It's like everybody wants to play it. Everybody's interested in it. Like, let's fucking do it. I think it's a pretty good time to be a Tekken fan. And it's a pretty good game to jump into and play, right? Everybody is a big fan. You know, King Koopa, that's a very common sentiment at Evo. It says, I signed up for Smash and Street Fighter, and I haven't really played any Street Fighter at all. I'm not even sure if I'm going to show up to my bracket. Evo has a lot of that. A lot of people sign up for event, because, you know, when you sign up for Evo, you sign up in like January, February, whenever entrants open. And by the time August rolls around, it's been a long time since you signed up for all those games, you know? That's very common at Evo. Evo is such a big event, and you have to sign up so early and plan for everything. What are you going to do? UNI-ST didn't beat DBFZ numbers. You guys are focusing... See, the thing is on something like this, you shouldn't look at just the numbers. The context is so important. Like this guy Freaky in the chat says Mortal Kombat 11 is dead. It's the best-selling game of 2019. This is the most entered Mortal Kombat Evo of all time. Imagine grabbing your keyboard and rubbing your face against it and typing something so stupid through your autocorrect. That it's just fucking crazy. As crazy as Elder Death. Thanks very much for dropping the Twitch Prime. Imagine using, because there's no way you used your hands. You're not civilized enough. Imagine taking your keyboard and rubbing it against your face and saying something so stupid. Through sheer luck. As lucky as I am that Majin Obama came through and Smash Ultimate only got 3,500. Dead game. Bruh, Street Fighter V had more in 2016. It's a dead game. Hear that? That's what you sound like to me. Just like it sounds like Toe Man John dropped the 6 months. Thanks very much. This is what you sound like. That's what it sounds like. When I'm reading the chat room and I see a stupid ass comment, that's what it sounds like to me. Is that a ghost? No, it's a husky German Shepherd fucking howling. All right, what are we at? Street Fighter V. Street Fighter V, second most entered game at Evo. Almost 2,000. That's pretty good. Somehow Street Fighter V, despite being a dead game, is the second most entered game at Evo, behind Smash Ultimate, who had a humongous release this year. Street Fighter V somehow ends up with 2,000 attendees almost. Fucking crazy. That is a really, really, really big number. Despite that, it's still going down each year, but I think that that is not that surprising, right? Given the state of how people feel about the game, I think it's kind of solidifying into probably right around where it needs to be. It had that crazy 5,000 year. Lots of things went wrong. It's been dropping since then, but still the numbers have been very strong. And it's still consistently near the top up there with the other fighting game titles that are doing well. And I think sort of right now, Street Fighter's kind of hitting the point where people have turned the corner on it. They've finally made up their mind. Either they hate the game and they're not playing it, or they're like, you know what, I actually enjoy this game, so I'm going to still play it. Am I surprised SF5 is at the top? No. Because you have to remember, people are stupid. And when they say things like, all these other games are going to crush Street Fighter, nobody likes Street Fighter. It's a dead game. You look at the fucking actual numbers there, and it's like, well, yeah, a lot of people still play Street Fighter. No shit. If you say something else, you know, well, duh. Street Fighter is a huge game. It's a huge franchise, right? The thing is that you have to understand that there's two things. There's the people yelling into the void on the internet, and then there's numbers. And there's actually what's happening, right? And Tekken and Street Fighter are crushing it. They're both doing super, super well. But it's not even just them, right? Like, people are talking shit about MK down there. MK with 1,500. Awesome. Dragon Ball with 1,200. To be honest with you, I'm impressed that Dragon Ball has that many numbers despite how badly things have gone with everything else. UNI-ST has 1,200 attendees. A lot of people were like, I'm really sad that UNI-ST didn't get more entrants than Dragon Ball. Why are you sad that UNI-ST has an 1,150-man tournament? That's insane. UNI-ST, there's no world tour for UNI-ST. There's no developer support. All you got is back alley French bread deals where people are slinging baguettes from their fucking pockets. Like the guy from Resident Evil, what are you buying? Just throwing baguettes at motherfuckers. Like, bruh, the game is there's 1,150 people who are just like, I love UNI-ST. UNI-ST is dope, and they entered the game. When I was at KI Cup in 2016, they were playing Melty Blood in the Whataburger across the street. It was the Melty Blood final. I promise you, that is a long way. Whataburger to Evo having 1,150 entrants is a long fucking way. There's nothing fancy happening. There's no tour. There's no developer support. There's no like huge pop bonuses events from like all this blah blah. It's just like the community runs events like Climax. They show up to events like Combo Breaker and CEO and all the kinds of shit like that. That shit is crazy. 1,150 UNI-ST players in the same bath. Now that's some bathwater people would pay for. I don't know what people would pay for it, but it certainly wouldn't be me. Anyway, we're to the big boy now. Smash Ultimate. 3,492 attendees. No surprise here. Crushed it. Huge numbers. Huge numbers. This is the biggest Smash Ultimate tournament ever, right? Well, it's Smash 4/Smash Ultimate. It's gotta be. It's humongous numbers. It makes sense for a few reasons. For one, the game is new. Obviously gives you a bump, right? Obviously gives you a big bump. Smash Ultimate/Smash 4 had excellent numbers before at Evo, right? They had like, what, 2,400 or something like that last year? What was it last year? Yeah. 1,300, excuse me. 1,300 last year. Humongous successful game. New game, which always brings in fat numbers. And cut out Melee this year, which means if you're a Smash fan and you're going to come to Evo, you're going to play Smash Ultimate, right? Melee would have added more. Are you saying Melee would have gotten more than Smash Ultimate? You participating in some of that glue eating I saw on stream? I see what you're saying. You're saying that if Melee was there, Ultimate would have more numbers? You're probably right. But it also helps Ultimate either way. For a second, I thought you were eating glue. Never mind. We're all right there. But either way, I think if Melee was at Evo, I feel like it would have had around Dragon Ball and UNI-ST numbers. Melee has kind of been hovering around that range. It feels like, and it's been going kind of up and down. Yeah, traditionally, the numbers show that at Evo, Melee players tend to play Melee. And Smash Ultimate / Smash 4 players tend to have more, they tend to enter Ultimate and other games as well. Like, I feel like the mindset is if they are players that started with Melee and then went to Smash with like Brawl and then 4 and then Ultimate, and they're willing to try other games in the Smash cycle, it's more likely that they're willing to try games that aren't just Smash. So either way is fine with me. Whatever you're interested in. If you want to just play your game, that's totally fine with me. If you want to try other games, tight, dude. Try other games and have fun, right? Whatever you want to play is totally cool with me. Melee died for BB Tag. You ever think that it's not because of another game that Melee died? What if they just didn't want to run Melee anymore? They're like, fuck it. It's too much work. We don't like running Melee. We already run Smash Ultimate, which is a huge Nintendo game. And Nintendo is like a partner of ours. And to make this event happen, if we have Melee here, it might piss them off. So fuck it. All that shit is more complicated. Let's just run Smash Ultimate. And not only that, but yeah, Melee is extremely popular at Smash events and at Melee events in general. The game's crushing it over at those events. The numbers are crazy. Smash fans are crazy. And the amount of Smash fans who dive in and absorb Smash content is traditionally higher than, I feel like, fighting game fans. And it's split less. To me, it seems like if you're a Smash fan, there are tons of resources to go and look up Smash, find all the events in your area, find all the super events that are happening, see where all the players are. They have a PGR. They have like all their players are listed, and here's our the panel put together our top 100 Smash players. Over here in fighting games, I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to find the results for Street Fighter League? Melee has a top 100 organized by a panel of their peers that have gone through and systematically rated wins and losses over players at different tiers of events, and I can't find the fucking results for Street Fighter League if I'm a fighting game fan. That shit's insane. As insane as Deja Coop subscribing for 29 months. Thanks very much. So you guys can talk shit all you want. How come I can't find the results? How come I can't find the results of Strong Style? I gotta look up fucking... I gotta go to Event Hubs, the top article, Bronson Tran drinking at a tournament or something. It's fucking some random shit not related to Strong Style. I gotta scroll to the bottom of this article, click expand, look at the results, and then it's finally listed there. I gotta take my ass to Event Hubs. You guys all meme. But is there a better option? It's not all in one place where I can just go and find it. It's not as easy. If I want to know Street Fighter results for CEO, I got to go look at CapcomProTour.com. If I want to go look at Tekken results, I got to go to TekkenWorldTour.com. If I want to know Dragon Ball, there's no news about Dragon Ball. They fucking, you know the movie Holes? It's in one of those holes. The results for the Dragon Ball World Tour are in one of the holes in that movie. You just got to search the entire desert to find it. Shia LaBeouf's going to pop out with a shovel and just boom, take your ass out. It's him and Hiroki hiding in a fucking hole somewhere. Why doesn't Evo make a central FGC hub? They did. It's a website called Shoryuken. It just doesn't really exist anymore. You guys don't realize that Evo owns everything. Shoryuken, these motherfuckers own GGPO. They own you. Look, I'm already working tirelessly every day to improve my commentary and try to improve the stream game that all the FGC members have and promote working harder in the fighting game space in terms of commentary and viewership and content production and all that kind of stuff. I can't also now head the project of, all right, guys, we're going to make a fighting game news site. Let me pay all these people to make a fighting game news site. Somebody else has got to take the reins. I'm sure they'll do an excellent job. They just need to do it. I'm already over here working my ass off and not getting what I want, all right? I need to work on what I want to do so that I can get what I want.